I'd like to begin the meeting for the Board of Health, March 9th, 2020. It's 6:03. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from February 10th, 2020.
Minutes approved from Board of Health meeting February 10th, 2020.
All those in favor, aye. And then the next thing on the agenda is under action discussion, the Meadowview Commons, a discussion related to variance request.
Correct. So, do you want to take it? Or you want me to, or what do you want to do?
We can tag team.
Okay.
Okay, so Meadowview Commons has got a shared septic system with some tanks, and they're very big tanks. And what happened, I'm going to just give you a little bird's eye view of what we have here is we have a situation where if you look at number 28, okay, the tanks originally were going to be here, okay, and unit 28 was the foundation was poured. To put the tanks in, it would undermine the foundation, so the tanks needed to be slid forward. And due to this, there is too much cover over the tanks. They are H20 loading tanks, so it's not that they can't hold the weight of the dirt over them. It's more of a technical thing where you actually need a variance to have more than 6 feet of cover over the tanks. So that's something that we'll be looking for. Not tonight, we just want to get the feeling from the board tonight that you'd be okay with it, because they're trying to close on a couple of the homes. And there's obviously 36, correct, 36? 36 homes on the property. So we will get the variance from them for the next meeting, as you know, which will be the 16th. And that way we can notify the butters. Because all variances, you have to notify the butters, so we'll get the green cards from the engineer, and the engineer will be here, and we'll go from there. Now, Kristen?
So, in the interest of making sure that, like Mark said, they needed 10 days notification to the abutters in order for you to actually act on it. We thought it would be prudent to take the board's temperature tonight so that we could make a decision as to whether or not to actually hold the 3 houses that are looking to close to waiting another whole week. So we just kind of wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to ask any questions, if there was anything that needed to be added for your information, or if you just kind of saw this as this is how it has to be type of thing. So just an opportunity for you guys to at least discuss it, ask questions ahead of time, all of us to get a sense as to how you felt about it. It's not the first time you would be issuing a variance to have more than 3 feet of cover over a tank.
So they're asking for 6.
No, more than 6.
More than 6.
Right. And it's new construction, so anything more than 3 feet's a variance.
Okay.
If it was a repair, you could go up to 6 feet with an LUA, local upgrade approval. Because it's new construction, it has to be a variance.
Okay.
So you don't even see those. I act on them, the 3 to 6 feet on the repairs.
Now, this mound that it'll produce, that's not a problem, or it won't produce a mound?
It's actually deeper in the ground.
Okay,
So there's more dirt over the top of it.
I see.
That's the difference.
I understand.
So as opposed to in 1 yard, getting everything to pitch to a tank and then possibly to a pump chamber, this is 36 homes having to get to a couple of central locations. So even if you think about the sewer project, and you've heard how deep some of that pipe is in the road, we're not talking about getting, from a backyard foundation out 20 feet and then going on. We're talking about acres.
Yeah, see, this starts here, goes there, goes there, goes there, then there. You know what I mean? Actually, this one starts here.
So is it for the whole complex? Is this?
These 2 tanks serve this upper part of the complex.
Okay.
This larger tank and this pump chamber serve this part of the complex and this part of the complex. And this tank pumps into the larger tank here. Actually, excuse me, pumps into the pump chamber here, which pumps into the 3 fields in rotation.
So the goal is always the least number of moving parts. The more we can do by gravity, the better. The only other solution to this would be, it's something like going back and retrofitting individual pumps up to a sewer, which they don't advise doing. So, it is site topography. It is that they had to move that easement, move them down in the easement towards the other end, which makes the pressurized line a little bit shorter.
And the alarms and stuff will be together, so the alarm for this unit and this unit will be located here together instead of up here and then down here. So,
Why does the 6-foot regulation exist? What's the potential?
I think it's access for, I'm theorizing, it's access for servicing. It is a minimum standard that's applied to everything. So in a homeowner situation, something being down 6 feet and needing to switch a pump out is hard. In this situation, they're commercial sized, so I'm sure they've got the rigging and everything else to pull them up.
yeah, there'll be ladders built into the
Okay.
24-inch manhole to climb down in. You won't have to bring a ladder and try to fit down in there.
So it's really then a minimum requirement, but because it's more, we have to go through this process.
Yes.
It's not like there's a public health risk because it's 6 feet or over.
No, there's some argument, and when they redid the code, they wanted everything up closer to the surface for aeration, but you're not really aerating a tank unless you're adding artificial aeration. I think it was more ease of access for inspections and for being able to service any pieces that were broken. But in this isn't one backyard where it's flowing 30 feet. They were looking to achieve gravity for that entire section down to one moving part. Which we all know, the less moving parts, the more we can do by gravity, the less there is to maintain, the less the chance there is of something going wrong.
Okay. I can't really think of any other questions. It sounds like,
There is other places in town where the tanks are deep like that. One was approved by DEP when I started here, and the tanks, I believe, are about 12 feet down.
In a similar type of
It's a
situation.
shared system, multiple units, multiple homes on a shared system.
so when the people buy the homes, it doesn't really, if there needed to be maintenance, it wouldn't really affect them.
No, because,
So why is it affecting home sales now? Is it because the septic is in failure?
nope.
No, it's brand new.
Brand new.
Oh, okay.
But they can't issue an occupancy permit without a certificate of compliance from us or approval from the Board of Health. So that's.
We can give the verbal to the building department that we're pretty much all set, even though all the pieces aren't there, they're all in the chute, for a limited number.
And then we actually make the decision on the 16th.
Right, and then those 3 homes, those 3 families that are looking to move, have put their lives on hold to get into these new homes are able to go ahead. We have plenty of checks and balances for anything else we want, because we're releasing 3, we still have the other 33, and a reputable person who we've dealt with for years.
Okay.
Ensuring that everything that we're asking for will be done.
Okay.
And again, there's just no real practical or even logical way to deal with this you could cut the grade and you'd have a big gully in the back. That doesn't make sense either. Then water would pond on top of it.
Yeah, and there'll be a house at lot 22 next to it as well, so you don't want to have a big swale.
No, I'd
Next
be
one.
worried about mosquitoes and everything else.
So,
Okay, so
So,
right now, we're just looking at it, and I have no more questions. Yeah. It looks,
Straightforward.
yeah.
okay. Yep, that's it. We
We
wanted to.
defer to you for a lot of the technical stuff, and
This also gives an opportunity too that any of the abutters that got the letter saying it was going to be considered, if they wanted to look at our explanation as to what's going on prior to next week,
they could take a look.
they could educate themselves. They could call either one, any of us to discuss it. And we just have to meet that requirement of the 10-day notification before you can actually take the vote.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think we get this, it looks good.
Yeah.
Kristen, I have received 7 of the 12 contracts already.
Perfect.
And I sent over the certified mailing that we did last week and I actually informed, I talked to Tim, and I sent them to the law firm that's handling the mobile home park.
The mobile home park receiver.
So
Okay.
I'll get them too. So that, and I still send it to the current owner, I guess, if they're still the current owner, unless it's.
They are the owner, they just have been removed
So I didn't remove
legally.
them, but it still says.
Just added an extra.
Correct.
Does he have to announce who he is for the videotaping or no?
So this is Mark Perrin, one of the builders of the project.
Okay.
Beneview Commons,
Cam Perrin's dad?
yes.
My son played hockey with him.
Kim came back this year.
I heard. I see him all the time.
Right now, actually,
Um,
because my freshman played this year,
Yep, yep.
so we had fun. How's your son doing? Good?
He's doing good. He's in college. Yeah, yeah,
That's next for us.
yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll call you after the meeting.
Great, thank you, too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no problem, Mark. So the second item on the agenda is not the novel coronavirus COVID-19 update.
So, I sent.
I haven't heard anything. Kidding.
You guys heard of this thing?
What is this?
So as you know, last week I sent you guys an email telling you that we wanted to keep you in the loop, that we had a task force meeting consisting of representatives from the school department, public safety, town management. We met again today. We added and spread a little bit further, cast a little bit further net on this group as well. We added in DPW as they're helping with, I'll get into some of the cleaning measures that we're taking in the public spaces in the town-owned buildings. And we added representatives from Stonehill College that were also at our meeting. So a joint press release was released from all of us. That's up on our webpage. It's up on Police and Fires. We also worked on a second press release with the school department, talking about some of the travel, some of the concerns that people may have about other people in households. And how a quarantine then is applied to everybody else in the house. CDC has a pretty good document up now that deals with if I were quarantined, what the rest of my family should be doing to not be considered exposed. So we're working with getting targeted messaging out. The group met again today. We're working on a fact sheet, basically a question and answer sheet that would pertain to what we're all hearing as a group as the hot topics. There's one out there on CDC's website, but it's probably got 30 questions and answers on it. We have, Department of Public Health has one, more like 15, but a lot of them aren't really relative, so we're looking to try to compile what the questions are that are being asked in Easton so that we can put a targeted answer sheet together. We continue to participate in whatever quarantining measures DPH asks us to, and that would be anybody returning from China or Iran. It is funneled down through CDC to DPH to us at the local level to begin a conversation. They begin the conversation, and then we're to pick up the conversation and monitor the individuals for 14 days after.
Not Italy?
Hmm?
Not Italy?
Nope. Nope. Italy is on voluntary. Italy is, so if you're coming from Iran or from China, you're flying into one of the 11 airports that CDC is designated. You're being allowed in if you're a US citizen. You're being screened and you're being handed an information card that tells you the symptoms to watch for and what your responsibilities are as far as taking your temperature and going home in quarantine. If you're returning from Italy, even though it is also a level 3 country, you can fly into any airport in the United States that you want. You are not going through any screening, and you are not being told anything about the quarantining process. So
Why would
it's-
that be? Okay, we can't.
That's what our government has decided to do.
Oh,
It is frustrating to those of us at this level. It is frustrating to the people at the level above us. And I don't know how much further up the frustration goes, but that is the scenario that we're living with right now.
in South Korea? No.
South Korea is the same as Italy right now.
Okay.
Again, and not someplace we want anybody traveling to, and if you are returning, you are being asked to quarantine and keep yourself away from everybody else, but there is no public health oversight. That's the difference. In China and Iran, there's public health oversight, which directly involves us. The other two countries mentioned, there is no public health oversight. It is, let's hope that they got the message and they understood what they were being asked to do. So there is another phone call tomorrow with the Department of Public Health that I will be on. I don't know if the guys can fit it into their schedule. Christina, our new nurse, will be on. And we'll see what they have to say tomorrow. The numbers do keep climbing. The Biogen event seems to be responsible for the majority of them. Department of Public Health has gone to a single platform, actually really nice, simplified, one little page type of thing that they are saying they will update daily at 4 p.m.
Okay. And who was that again?
The Department of Public Health.
Okay, because I've been mainly on the CDC. Okay.
So as of right now, Massachusetts has 1 confirmed case and 40 presumptive cases. The 32 of those are associated with the Biogen event. 4 are travel related, and 5 are under investigation. They're still looking for where they come from. It's encouraging that you can trace them. I mean,
Right, that's a good thing.
As much as the Biogen is an unfortunate event, it's nice to know that's where you got it. It's the ones where you can't figure out where they got it that really start to make everybody concerned about the community passing it around.
And was the confirmed case, I'm trying to remember now, was that they were exposed to somebody abroad?
The confirmed case was a young man who returned from China back in January or February.
I remember now.
He was a student at BU, I believe, and he is still under quarantine but recovering, is what we keep hearing. So that is actually one of our questions for the conference call tomorrow, is once somebody is confirmed to be positive, what is the protocol for clearing them? We're using a lot of the same methodologies and same preventative measures that we use for flu and common cold, and everybody's going to keep going back to that, washing your hands, staying home if you're sick, and that's the one that we're kind of wondering where COVID fits into that piece, because is it fever-free for 24 hours? Is it fever-free for 48 hours?
Right.
Is there follow-up lab work that needs to be completed and then come back as negative, much like we do look for salmonella and somebody returning to work in a restaurant scenario. So that's one of our questions for tomorrow. Our other question is whether or not, we heard today in our meeting, we heard that some of the smaller private labs, Quest Diagnostics and some of the others, were coming online with the testing, and just whether or not those would immediately be toe-to-toe with the DPH ones as presumptive, and was everything still going to have to go to CDC, or would there be a change in how it's conducted? Because the 40 presumptives have all been tested at the local level, but all the samples have to go to CDC for confirmation before they can shift from one category to another. So
Wow.
that's what's going on with that. I think Italy now is really locking down.
I'd heard,
Italy's prime minister announces total lockdown of the country to protect citizens from the coronavirus outbreak.
yeah, I'd heard that earlier today.
So,
Exactly, but
there do not seem to, it does seem to be holding, that it really does not seem to be affecting kids.
Yeah.
Wherever we want to draw that age line for kids.
And does this include, like, the mainland China where it originated? The kids weren't really affected there? Do we have enough data?
I don't know, I don't think anybody really knows how clear cut their data is, but at least here, even the small section that we're looking at, I've seen 20 to 60, 20s to 60s. And then, with the exception of Rhode Island has one presumptive positive that is a high school teenager that was on the Italy trip. So I'm thinking 16, 17, 18, somewhere up in the upper teen range. That's the youngest person that I've heard of, at least around here.
Okay.
It's a little reassuring.
Yep, and the majority, let's see, of the 41 that we're talking about in Massachusetts, 4 have been hospitalized. 37 have been positive and have not required hospitalization. So just goes back to just the same steps anyone would be taking to stay healthy this time of year. You know, stay away from situations where other people are coughing and sneezing. If you are coughing and sneezing, cough into the elbow, wash your hands frequently.
The right way.
Yep, the right way, the long, extended, sing yourself a song way.
Touch your eyes, put your hands in your mouth.
Yep, be conscious of it. It's not easy.
It's much
to do.
harder than you
It's-
think.
It's actually much, you know, we touch our faces a lot more than we actually think we do. And that's one of the main reasons, among other reasons, but that is one of the reasons for them not suggesting healthy people wear masks. They're not comfortable, they're not pleasant, and they force you to keep touching and adjusting and bringing those hands up near your face, which is the one thing we do want to avoid. And the other thing is, if you're sick, stay home.
Can I ask you, it says on this COVID-19 list, it says the last tip is to get a flu shot. Is a flu shot theoretically helping people not get coronavirus?
No, it's actually helping with the diagnosis. And
So they can easily rule out flu?
Yes. I mean, they have the
No.
rapid flu test,
Yeah.
but they also are, it is helping even before people get in the door for people to distinguish what's going on.
Because some people that get the flu shot can still get a flu.
Right.
It's the nasal swab at the doctor's office that really confirms whether or not they have the flu. And unfortunately, not all doctors, at least from what I've seen, are checking for the flu,
Or
which would be,
do a probative enough test.
yeah, so,
And the shot only contains 4 strains of the virus. So, I mean, there are a multitude of strains out there, just like there are more than one coronavirus out there right now. There are 4 coronaviruses that are considered garden variety by all public health officials. They have been around, they will continue to be around, they do cause upper respiratory infection, and they will come back on a separate screening panel as a coronavirus. They're not the coronavirus that we're talking about. This is novel.
novels.
This has never been seen before. Novel meaning new. So now we have 7 that we know about, 4 that are garden variety, 3 not so much.
okay. Wow. Thank you. That's a lot of information.
There's a lot of information.
And I actually would stress to anybody listening out there to make sure that the information they are reading, looking at, listening to is coming from reputable sources. To really probably limit yourself to the Department of Public Health's website, accessible through mass.gov, with a little flasher at the top that's there for COVID-19.
Yep.
Or CDC. I find CDC's has a lot of valuable information, but it's hard to navigate. You can very easily get lost on it.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Yeah. Try to avoid social media. Okay. Thank you. It's been busy for you guys. The next on the agenda is the arbovirus and tick-borne, mosquito-borne illnesses.
Just an update, we received notice from Bristol County Mosquito Control about doing their annual aerial larvicide to kill the larvae of the mosquito in the Bristol County area and the swamp, pretty much Hockomock Swamp in our case. I had spoke with Priscilla And they said probably in April, they'll notify us when they're gonna do it. It'll be,
Okay.
between 4 AM and 4 AM to 9 PM is when they fly.
Okay.
So just letting you know, they'll do it before the tree canopy grows out.
Is that what they do? Okay.
Yeah, they want to do it before the leaves come out on the trees, so.
I find like it's so warm now, it's been so warm, like I've actually seen like what looked like mayflies or something the other day at
Yep.
Stonehill.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
I believe it.
But,
So there's no official day on it.
No.
all right, thank you. The next one is Gunny's Coffee, request for waiver of farmer's market 2020 permit fee.
So this is a gentleman who wants to go to the original farmer's market, the Lutheran Church, on Lincoln Street. He's not a nonprofit, but veteran-based company. He basically has bags of coffee, one-pound bags, whole roasted coffee that he can sell, but he would like to also brew coffee and serve it there as well during the farmer's market. That location is licensed by us and we inspect it once or twice a year. But he's looking to have the fee waived. So,
Will it increase the workload for you guys as health agents?
no. I mean, they have coffee makers on site, they have dishwasher on site, three-way sink on site, so he would brew it and serve it that way. Otherwise, he's okay to sell his pounds of coffee. He doesn't need a permit for that. He's looking to sell physical coffee there. So that's where he crosses the line and would need a permit.
So
Just
it's
to-
not, huh?
Just to add, if he was already a 501c3, we wouldn't charge him a permit, because in the code, you're not allowed to.
Okay.
He can sell the bags with no permit, no fee. It's making the coffee.
So there's no public health risk and there's no extra work on the part of the Board of Health? Do we need to make a
Yeah, do we
motion
need
or
to make a
anything?
motion for this?
Or
If you
just,
want to waive the fee.
Okay, yes.
I make a motion to waive the fee for Gunny's Coffee for the Farmers Market 2020 permit fee.
I second, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. And then we have 5 betterment applications. The first one's 140 Highland Street.
140 Highland Street is a homeowner, they have 2 overloaded cesspools. They are looking for the $30,000 loan estimate as of right now. They're in the process of receiving quotes, but just as a placeholder, they're looking for the $30,000.
Okay. Do we have to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve the betterment application for 140 Highland Street.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, and then 117 Turnpike?
Yes, so this one is, they were already approved for $30,000, their estimates have come in higher, so they're looking for $4,000 more. The package should have a letter written from the homeowner, along with the bills that have come in. So this system has already been built and is in the ground, so it came in a little bit more.
Okay.
Why are they asking for 4,000 when it looks like they owe 5,700?
They already got some, oh yeah, are they looking for 5,000 more or 3,000 more?
They're looking for $4,000 more.
Is that on here?
So 28 and the 6, 34, so they already approved the 30. So they're just looking for 4,000 more.
Okay, I don't really see that on here, but I want to take
I
your
know, I
word
don't
for it.
either.
Where do you, am I missing something?
So this was the construction cost,
Yes.
28,594. And another, I'm rounding up, 5,800
Okay.
for engineering.
Okay.
Oh, I get it.
So that's 34.
I get you. Okay.
I make a motion to approve the betterment application for 117 Turnpike Street, a request for increase of $4,000.
I second. All those in favor? Aye. And the next one is 43 Kevin's Way. So,
Again, this one's a failed septic engineering. Not certain if we received it or not, but they're looking for the $30,000 placeholder as it stands right now.
I see it, yeah.
I make a motion to approve the betterment application for 43 Kevin's Way.
Second, all those in favor? Aye. And then we're on to 21 Shagbark Road.
This one's in the process, again, the failed septic. We just received the plans, they have to be reviewed. He is receiving a couple of quotes so far, and more than likely, he's gonna actually come in front of us again for additional funds, because the 2 of the 3 quotes he's received is already exceeding the $30,000 that he's asking for. So, he was already on the agenda, and he's in good standing with his bills, so.
So knowing that, you could make a motion on this one to approve up to a
30,000?
higher number if you wanted to.
Okay.
And Tim and I are gonna look at the history of this program and see if there's a way to avoid having to come, maybe if we need to up the amount.
Yeah, he hasn't told me what his estimates are. He
Okay,
just verbally
sorry.
told me today when he came into the office that 2 out of 3 are higher. So I said, well, let's just at least get you approved for the 30 today.
What happens if we approve for 30 and then they come back and say like, so say we did 35 for him today and he said, oh, I really only needed the 30.
He only takes out a loan for what invoices he submits to us.
Okay,
So if he
okay,
goes
so
to
it doesn't
30,
really
he
matter.
comes in at 25, he's only taking out a loan
Yeah.
for 25.
So there's no harm in overshooting.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's just a place card holder. We have a lot of, we have the money for it right now. It's just, we've had a couple, especially the next one we're about to come up with, that came in exceedingly higher than what they were approved for, so.
What would you say would be a fair overestimation of the value?
And
Going forward, just
Yeah.
approving them, I'd probably say maybe go to 40.
Go to 40, okay. I make a motion to approve the betterment application for 21 Shagbark Road up to $40,000.
I second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, and then lastly was 2 Merlin Drive. So that,
This one was approved prior, in the summertime, back in June for 30, or July, per se. And they need an additional $23,441. This system has already been built, put in the ground. And they didn't submit any, or ask any questions. I'm not sure if they shopped it around or not, but the job is done, basically. So, this system was a very large, remove and replace. I believe it was, 8 feet?
Something
The
like that.
field was quite large. I'm not sure if it involved tree work or not. It did not need a pump.
when something like this happens, I remember a while back, there was a request for a betterment application amount that was pretty high, and it was because of cosmetics. In a case like this, you would have ruled out that it was for things that really weren't essential.
Yeah, you actually have the invoice in your packet.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of lays out what was going on.
And it's actually very specific too, in that it calls out, furnish and install septic sand is necessary, 587 yards. That's sand they had to purchase.
Okay.
But on this letter dated March 4th, 2020, it says the work has been completed with the exception of the lawn reseeding and the repair of the sprinkler system that was damaged during construction. They're not asking for repayment of those, are they?
If it,
Generally speaking, because of the time of the year, they wouldn't seed now.
Okay.
Sometimes if you do have a sprinkler system, that may or may not be included in the price. I think they spelled it out in the invoice.
They have loam and hydroseed, the areas disturbed by the septic.
Okay.
So not,
I don't believe it
Nothing.
doesn't include the sprinkler system.
nothing like that last.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wasn't sure. Even reading that, I wasn't really sure.
This is what it looks like on paper. It's quite a large leaching field. It's 9 rows of 8. And I think I believe it was 8 feet they had to remove and replace, so.
Okay,
And they're all allowable
Zero.
expenses?
I'm sorry?
And it's allowable expenses under the Betterment program?
Yes, I mean,
Okay,
everything
okay.
that they did was above board. There isn't anything that I would consider,
okay,
you know.
Frivolous.
To the top, yeah, frivolous.
I don't have any, no.
I make a motion to approve the Betterment application for 2 Merlin Drive, a request for increase of $23,441.
A second, all those in favor? Aye. And then inspector or agent report? Anything other than,
I have nothing new, right?
Quiet week.
oh my God,
Kind of busy
I
with other
can't
stuff.
imagine, huh?
Shared septic systems and coronavirus is keeping us busy enough.
Now mosquitoes are starting.
Yeah.
People really don't, they
Oh,
don't
I-
realize how much you do until something like this
I will
comes
be-
up.
We'll be going to do the 4th grade bite lab, I think, in April. It's
Nice.
in the calendar.
And we are working on plans for, historically, we have done a Sharps take back on the same day as the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. This year, we are trying to kind of add some more to that day. It actually happens to line up this year for the first time with the DEA Drug Take Back Day.
Oh,
So I
nice.
believe Wings of Hope will be, and the police department will be doing the drug take back the same day with us at Frolingham Hall. We're going to use that as kind of a stepping off place to incorporate the card that we produced last spring with the schools that dealt with finding things in your yard and how to safely clean them up. And when to call the police for sharps, for things that look like they
That's
might
awesome.
be illicit drugs, as opposed to how to handle a bloody Band-Aid, or we give a lot of guidance on that one little document. So hoping to parlay that into also others, if we're cleaning up the yard and we're looking for those, Mark's gonna, working with Bristol County Mosquito Control to see if they can come out and do a
Nice.
piece on cleaning up the yards and doing things in the yard to prohibit breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Possibly we'll have Bite Lab there. We're inviting the green communities to come in and see if they want to do anything on composting or any
Wow.
other green things.
Like a little health fair.
One more to reach out to was suggested, possibly get in touch with the town's trash vendor and see if they can come out and do their kind of recycling sideshow of how to effectively recycle. And I heard too, the disabilities, Commission on Disabilities would like to have a table just as, since we're going to have people around that day. So we're, yes,
That's
really trying to
really,
grow
really
a
great.
comprehensive day into kicking off the spring and some steps people can take to prevent some of our hot topic things like the mosquitoes and the ticks and address safety concerns as they're cleaning up their yards.
Is this a public date at this point?
Yep, it's 25th of April.
25th?
Right? Saturday. It's the Saturday, I believe it's
Sorry.
25th. Yeah, it's the 25th.
Usually coincides with Earth Day.
Earth Day,
Yeah.
that's the 24th. So they wouldn't do it during the week, so it'd be the weekend.
Yep, the end of school vacation week.
I know that because it's my son's birthday. Or 22nd. Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's on the agenda. We'll see how
excellent.
it
That's
goes.
really cool.
Yeah, that is, that's great.
Very good.
All right.
All right, so I make a motion to adjourn the meeting, March 9th, 2020 at 6:42.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.